A new push to give renters legal representation when fighting evictions. WMAR 2 News' Mallory Safaste tells us why a number of agencies say the city needs to implement protections now to help families rebound from COVID-19.
Even though there's currently a moratorium on evictions, housing advocates are expecting a wave of new filings when the state of emergency is lifted. And they say without an attorney, many renters could lose their homes. Miranda rights make it clear, if you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided to you. But that's for criminal cases. In rent court in Maryland, you're on your own.
When you are a tenant, you are at the mercy of the landlord.
According to a new Stout analysis, 96% of landlords have lawyers in eviction cases, while only 1% of tenants do. Stout also found that if tenants were represented, 92% would avoid disruptive displacement, or 17,000 people could avoid eviction. Tara Leskew potentially being one of them.
At the age of 7, I was forced to confront my family's poverty.
That's when his family was kicked out of their home due to an unpaid utility bill from a previous tenant.
I kind of felt like being dropped in the deep end of a pool suddenly.
A second report by Dr. Timothy Thomas also shows who is most impacted by evictions.
Baltimore's eviction rate is one of the highest in the nation, and Black and brown residents are impacted at a much higher rate than their white counterparts. And that was before the pandemic.
The rising unemployment rate is only expected to lead to more evictions, further jeopardizing the state's recovery, which is why 20 organizers, advocates, and tenant groups are calling for new right to counsel legislation for low-income tenants. And while they haven't received opposition, they know money may be a hurdle.
Essentially, the Stout study shows that the city and the state can save $35.6 million with an investment of $5.7 million in a right to counsel for low-income tenants.
Matt Hill with the Public Justice Center said the city and state could see millions in savings from homeless shelters, transitional housing, foster care, transportation, and medical, not including the cost of trauma.
I pray that it actually passes, mainly because I don't want anyone to experience the kind of things that I have experienced.
Right to counsel legislation has passed in 7 states and multiple cities, including New York City, where they've seen a 29% drop in evictions. And several Maryland lawmakers were on the call today. They said they support the initiative.
Thank you, Mallory. Last week, the Baltimore City Council approved legislation prohibiting landlords from raising rent during the pandemic and up to 3 months after the state of emergency is lifted. And landlords also are not allowed to charge late fees during that time period.